Morning, everybody. Upstairs here today. No outside camera when we're up here. We're just too far from the front door. Just too far. It's a bath, not a bath time. It's a sizing stream. We're also planning a bath stream. Well, let's talk about when we get to the show and tell. We'll talk about that. The book I showed you the other day. It's a magnificent collection of little match table prints, and I was really curious if we're going to be able to fix that book. I mean, save those prints. But I can't take the book apart and test it or whatever until we finish showing it in show and tell. We'll see some more of it at the end of today's stream. But I cheated. There was a page at the very back that just had a few junk prints. The guy must have done that on purpose. Sort of the leftover things he didn't know what to do with, he stuck them on a page at the back of the book. So I razored that out and did a test here. This was a couple of days ago after the stream. And the good news is the prints flowed off the backing paper. The glue that he used to make that album was very soft, or it does soften up in hot water. So we're going to be able to save that album. So we'll do that, I think, in a floating stream or a bath stream, whatever you call it. Maybe if Taran-san has time one Saturday, or it could be maybe Aya-san. She's here on Saturdays sometimes. So maybe that's next week or the week after, something like that. Okay, as you see, it's a sizing stream today. It's absolutely a sizing stream. I did sizing yesterday, and I've got to continue again today. We now have 11 printers. I am feeding 11 printers, and it's not a full-time job feeding them, but it's almost a full-time job doing the sizing, getting the blocks paper ready for them, checking the prints when they come back. That's easily now half of my time taken on that job, being the what do you call it? The manager supervisor of a crowd of 11 printers and 3 carvers. So it's going to be a sizing stream. I'm talking slowly here because I'm waiting for the thing to heat up. It's almost ready. I was up here a bit late this morning. We're not cooking this morning because we've got leftover from yesterday. You'll see it in a minute when I dump it in. So we're going to start with yesterday's leftover stuff. Tea, excuse me here. It's a coffee cup, but it's actually got tea inside. How many cameras are going on here? Can I get my teacup in all 3 cameras at the same time? No, it's okay. Small things amuse small minds. What's underneath the towels? Just nothing. It's that we're warming things up. It is cold here today. It's cold. What's it showing? Get the reflection, sorry, Smith. It's 10 and it's dry. It's dry and cold in here. This is indoors. This is indoors. We don't have a space heater. Space heater would make no sense. Above my head, you're seeing the concrete ceiling, and that's the outside. The other side of that concrete slab is the outside world. There isn't any meaning to putting any kind of heating system in a building like this. It's concrete slabs all the way around. There's no insulation inside or outside. These old buildings like this, there's just no point to it. The girls in the printing room, they use a space heater. It's freezing in there now. The heater will get it up to working temperature, and down it goes. My room where I live downstairs, it has nothing. I just huddled last night. I'm doing video editing last night, just huddled. Okay, I think we can get this thing on the road. I think we can get moving. Let's move the camera around here a bit. Also, the background noises, it's the laundry. I'm doing my laundry at the moment here. put these in the fridge last night, although really honestly I don't think they needed to be in the fridge. It wouldn't have made any difference leaving them out. That is hot stuff. I'm not going to put it all in. If we put too much in, if it's too deep here, then the brush gets, just the whole handle of the brush gets soaking wet. So there's just enough in there to cover the hair. A bit more would help, I think. And then as the level goes down, you probably don't see it too often on these streams, but when I'm doing a long bunch of sizing that takes all day, I will top it up bit by bit by bit as the level goes down. In a real professional setup, it would be a bit different. In a real professional setup, there's much more size. The whole thing will handle much larger volume. There's a hook, so the brush can hook on it without falling down into the deep well. And in a real sizing setup, it's about wider. It would be wider, and there's a metal bar in the middle. And the sizer will take the brush, dip it, and he'll rub it against the metal bar. It's like you see this with paint buckets to show. You dip your brush in the paint bucket and there's a bar sometimes across the top. You can brush your brush against it, the paint falls down into the bucket. When do I plan to seriously delegate this job? I don't know. Jacques-San, I have no idea. Our printers are busy. They're maxed out printing. We're back ordered on prints. There's nobody else to do this. Nobody else to do this. I really don't know what to do. I have no answer. Okay, how many sheets today? Okay, the counters want to know. I'm not quite sure. Just a sec. I got it ready, but I've forgotten what I'm doing. Okay, actually, the paper today, something different on the paper today. There are 6, 12, 18 sheets cut not in half. So it's going to be 36 sheets today, but they're not 18 sheets, but not cut in half. How's our exposure? Seems okay. We're going to be working in white. Looks good. Looks good. Doesn't the local 7-Eleven have a sizing machine next to the copy machine? In my dreams. Get over here and make it happen. So, 86. What's 86? 86. 86 is the year I came to Japan. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, okay. I came to Japan in 1986. I came to live. I'd been visiting here before. I came to live in 1986 here. I hired a bunch of people to take on about 10% of the work. I think that's the way it's turned out. Okay, here's the scoop on the paper size. Let's show you what's going on. The paper today is the dimension known as obiru or obiru. That's the paper size as we get it from the maker. I have cut it not quite in half. And the reason is, these are prints. We're going to use this paper to make prints. We're catching up for our Patreon people. The Nenga gift. It's sort of the same as our New Year's card. The Nenga gift for our Patreon people. And we're going to make them out of this paper. And it turns out that the size of the print we want is 1, 2, 3. We can cut 3 out of this vertically, but if I cut this paper in half, it doesn't work. So I've cut it in 3, 2. It's 600 wide, and I've cut it in 360 and 240. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 prints out of one half, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the other half. So we get 15 prints out of each sheet, and there are 18 sheets here. And that's not even going to cover what we need for the Patreon requirements. Whatever, got to get going on it. We've already sent out a bunch of them. This is the next group. So what we're going to do, well, you'll see it as we go on. We're going to start with the large ones. Back at the beginning, before I was any good at this, I would have done this in 2 groups. I would have done the large group first, hung it up, and the small group second, and hung it up. We can do a little bit better than that. Somebody keeps asking me about the vegetable man status. I'm not quite sure about this. There is a vegetable truck, a vegetable delivery truck, a couple of different ones that comes by some days, not every day, some days at this time. And we don't usually see them because they actually come before 8 o'clock. So I'm sorry, I don't really have a whole lot of news on vegetables here. Somebody at the Delight prints. Whoa! Oh, Miss Evergreens. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Delight to hear from you. Thank you, thank you. Green tape. Our own green tape. We're not receiving it, so... Green tape does exist in Japan. We haven't seen any of it on show and tell now for months. I don't quite know why. I'm just holding down the first sheet so it doesn't slide on the board. Okay, let's check here. Temperature, 50. I can boost it a bit. It's so cold there. Let's boost it to 55. Temperature, 55. Size, ready. Brush in. Paper on. Board warm. Paper warmed up. 18 sheets. Let's roll. Let's roll. Let's roll. And Ayano-san was going to be here today for this, but we cancelled out. I know. Ayano-san was, the new employee that's coming on board in April. She's been helping out on weekends. She's still got her regular job till March, so she's been helping on weekends. And she's been coming on Saturdays, and she sent me an email a few days ago saying, I'm not sure if it would be a really great idea to come or not. And it turns out that she's a school teacher still, and her school, apparently the virus has gone rampant through her school. This is not top secret information. I guess X% of the kids have it, X% of the teachers have it. She herself thought she was negative, but to come and hang out with Dave here side by side was probably not a good idea right now. So we booked off this week. If her situation clears off a little bit by next week, she'll be back next week, maybe for a part of a bath stream or something, who knows. So she had planned on coming today, but I get my booster shot on Wednesday, next Wednesday. So maybe by the time she comes next week or 2 weeks from now, we'll be a bit more in the clear. So I'm sorry, it would have been nice to have her here today, but she's probably watching. Ayano-san, hello, hello. so. Let's roll. Not quite enough liquid. It's okay, but not quite enough liquid. Someone's saying, what's in the second floor these days? I live in the front room on the second floor, what used to be the old party room. The back room on the second floor is our office. Yamada-san and Aoyama-san work there doing the bookkeeping and pension payments and wrestling with all the paperwork and stuff that comes in. The middle room on the second floor is sleeping, it's just storage. And it's funny you asked us because we had a meeting about this just the other day. We're going to start renovations now on the second floor because the time is coming in sight when we may have to open up downstairs. And downstairs, Watanabe-san has been using downstairs for getting flea market prints ready. And when the shop opens, she can no longer do that down there. So she's going to move upstairs. So second floor renovations starting actually any day now. Looking good. Looking good. Making the paper warm is essential for this. Absolutely essential. You're saying Japan is kind of behind on the boosters, and it's interesting. There was a government press conference, was it yesterday or the day before? And we learned why Japan is being behind on this. They didn't want to start anybody until they had enough for everybody. So they did the medical staff, they had some for them, and they did the people in old folks' homes. But for general people like me, older and then down the line, they didn't want any city to get it before anybody else. So they stocked up until there was enough for everybody, and now it's been rolled out. That's what you get when you live in a society where they try and, nobody falls behind kind of an idea. It's an ideal, it's not in practice, but. So nobody gets it until everybody can have it. That's why we're behind, and the result is now, clip your fingers and everybody will have it. It's silly and it's not silly, it's a thing, it's okay. In some emergency situations, it might not make sense. I don't know. That is one of those aspects of Japanese culture, and sometimes the Japanese individuals, that is a plus minus for me. We have, for example, at least one of our employees who works closely with other people. This employee is very much like this personality. That person got something. We can't give it to her because I didn't get mine. Or I can't take that because she hasn't got hers yet. It sort of works both ways. And that bothers me a little bit, Not everybody can get the same thing at the same time. Even in salary. Not everybody can get the same money. That lady is working much, much harder than you are doing. Whatever. But it is a thing in Japan. The word is zurui. Kids use it, zurui. He got one and where's mine? And adults think the same thing quite often here too. This is going well. This is going well. Everything is sort of just right. The temperature is right. The liquid is just right. It's going well here. They did roll it out. They rolled it out to medical staff and old folks and people in nursing homes and stuff. As they came into the country, as the shots came into the country, they were rolled out to those two groups. We're talking the general population here. I'm not defending it anyway. I'm just describing it. So don't shoot at me. I'm not defending this. I'm just describing the way. Laundry. It's goat hair. It's not horse hair. It's goat. Horse would be much too coarse for this job. We use horse hair for our pigment brushes. But for this one and for our water brushes where we dispense water, we use goat hair. We couldn't use goat hair for the pigment brushes because we need strength in the brush to be able to push the pigment around. Here, these brushes never push anything. These brushes only trail. So we don't need physical strength in the brush. We just need the ability to hold the liquid. But the printing brushes, we need physical strength. They get pushed, not pulled. Why is a truck backing up in your laundry room? Good one. Who's this? Tom, okay. Laundry room. It's not a laundry room, it's a toilet. It's not water, this is glue. We are putting glue, so someone's going to get this here. The stream the other day, I was chopping the prints. Remember? I was chopping the ED prints, ED February prints. I was chopping them. And I said, I got to get this done today. I spent the rest of the morning chopping after the stream. I got them all chopped, got them ready, tucky bin packed, because it was the 10th. And the billing for the second group of ED prints goes out on the 11th. So those prints had to get to Ome ready to be shipped out. Because as soon as Cameron sends the bills on the 11th, people start paying, and bang, Ome's got to ship these things out. But what I hadn't realized, and I didn't learn this until Friday morning. Friday morning I get up, get my suit, get my gear, head out to the pool. I get to the pool and it's closed. Like, what's going on? I come back, why is it closed? I look at their website, no notice about this. And not only was it closed, but nobody else was around. It was just me who hadn't realized it was closed. And I couldn't figure out what's going on. Why was it closed? I finally realized it was a national holiday. Yesterday was a national holiday. So the post office is closed. So that work I did on Thursday, chop, 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 gotta get ready, chop, chop, chop. It didn't matter. Post office is closed Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I could have taken my time with it. So. At this stage of life now, with no kids in the house, with no shop that's open, I don't know when it's a holiday. There's no clue. There's nothing that tells me when it's a holiday. I'm sure there's a calendar. Of course there's a calendar. Everybody else in the building knew what's going on. I didn't know. Does he too? It's a holiday. It was, I forget what it was, National Foundation Day or something like this. So it's not a holiday that had meaning for people. It's just a holiday that has been stuffed into the calendar to make sure there's at least one every month. My life doesn't change when there's a holiday. Good grief, nothing. We are looking good today. We are looking good. There's something I found. I got some comments from one of the printers, Kubota-san, and this is going back a couple of months. He said the sizing recently has been okay, but there's a problem. He said, do you realize that the sizing across the width of some of the sheets is not the same? And I'm like, tell me more. Well, what are you seeing that I'm not seeing? And he had been doing a batch of Heroes prints that were chopped out. For example, from here, there would have been 1, 2, 3, 4. And he was finding in his group of prints that he was doing, some of them had stronger sizing and weaker sizing. And what he was just throwing out to me as an idea was that somehow I was not getting the size even across the sheet, that one side had more and one side had less. So what we did, next time I sent him a batch, and again, this is some months ago, I marked my sheets on the back, so he could see Group A and Group B, which ones were on that side, which ones were on this side. And he came back with the answer. He said, the B group, they're all lighter. Dave, you're doing something wrong with your brushing. And he's laughing at me. We're having a good conversation with this. And it turned out that the area here, I'm apparently light on liquid as opposed to the area up here. So as I'm brushing like this, or as I'm wiping off here, I'm wiping off too much liquid at the bottom of the brush, or I'm not pressing hard enough here. So coach, I need a swing coach here. If you guys are watching, take a look at what I'm doing here. As I'm moving the brush, look at the other camera over here. Am I light? What am I doing wrong? Because I've been thinking about this, I think I'm okay. But he was adamant that what's the question? Look at the bristles. The brush is what it is. And his point was that this zone is getting lighter sized than this zone. Enough that the printer would notice. Can I hire Tiger's swing coach? Dip. That's even. Knock off, knock off. Knock off all the way down, knock off all the way down. Pop the bristles back. As far as I know, it's even. Here we go. Start pulling. Pressure left, pressure right. As far as I can tell, I'm doing everything the same. So listen, my body heat is drying it. I don't know. Going over some area twice, that's a tough call. Really, really a tough call. Trying to get a balance then after doing part of it twice. I mean, this is the reason we use a single brush and not do it in multiple passes, so that we can get the thing in one go all the same. There's another aspect to it. You know, it doesn't have to be me. It could be the way it's drying in the other room. Remember, we're hanging these all up. They hang up, hang up, hang up. One side is against the wall and one side is against the room. I've got that plastic curtain. And this is another theory. It could be the side against the wall is drying slower. The part outside exposed to the room dries more quickly. The wall is the outside wall. Of course, the wall is stone cold as it can be. Is it any colder than the room? I don't know. I can't do a vertical stroke. I don't have a brush that big. Rotating the sheets when we flip them over. This is an idea. There is a bit of a problem here in that these sheets have one straight edge here now, and they have a rough edge on the other side. So we are going to use this part. You know, we're not going to use that part actually. So if I rotated these, we would have the good edge going to the outside. So actually, that's not trivial, and that's not so easy. Okay, now, change the topic for a minute. We've come now to the second half, and there's two ways to do this. If there was no stream here, flip, do the back side, hang them, come back, and do the smaller ones. But I can't move everything back and forth and all that stuff in the middle of a stream. So here is what we are going to do. We're going to put the small sheets right on top. Can you see the line? And we're going to run just this far. And I can get away with this because I don't need to use the last centimeter or so here. So I'm avoiding it. We're going to use 12/24. I think I'm light there. That could be what's going on here. judges are not happy. What's the deal here? Someone is thinking, I'm lifting the brush a bit on the body side. This I could believe, lifting the brush on the body side. I've got 600 swing coaches watching here. I want a playback. I want to see a playback. I can't. 450. It's okay. I've got one errant hair hanging down. Do I? That's what you mean, this one? Hair comes out all the time. I'm probably overcompensating now and pushing it here. It seems okay as far as I can tell, you know. As far as I can tell, it seems balanced. Someone's asking, well, could the liquid be unbalanced in there? I stir it each time. Every time I put the brush in, every time we stir, stir, sweep, 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 sweep. Paint roller wouldn't work. I think the paint roller, I think the problem there would be getting the distribution even top to bottom. Remember what I'm doing here, the brush is dumping a lot at the beginning. So I'm moving quicker at the beginning and slower at the end, and I'm also adjusting the angle of the brush. I don't know if you could control a paint roller that well. I don't know. It's worth thinking about. I don't know. Also, I think given that this is glue, as the roller rolled, I think it would tend to pull up the paper surface. I'm not sure. It's an idea. Well, lifting up the table, like do it like a printer's table. If we had an angle, again, would that mean the liquid would run down inside the paper? I'm not sure about that. All ideas to think about. Thank you, thank you. And I think the problem here is not in the tools and materials. The problem definitely here is in the driver. You know, what do we say? It could still be light, you know. Dave, look at the clip. Can I take time out and look at the clip here? Hang on a sec. Copy, move to my browser. I'll be back in a moment. In my browser here. One sec. Look at the clip. Look at this. I can do this. Playback. Wow. Okay. Hang on a sec. It does, doesn't it? It does look like I'm up at this side, you know. Part of it, the camera is crooked. Oops. Let's get some better angles. That better. Lots of ideas here. The brush flipping, actually I do. I know it's not a question of flipping it during the stream here. It's been a question of flipping. We're trying to get the brush so it doesn't wear unevenly. So I do use different sides of the brush. It's not always the same face. In fact, when I start any given stream, any given sizing, it's random. What if I brush from left to right? I can't do that. I'm left-handed. There's no way. There's no way I can go this way. It could be there, you know. I could be pulling too much liquid off. Missed a bit there. Use the right hand, yeah, right. No, if there was a difference at this end, I could believe it, because that's the part where we're running to the tip of the brush. I have no choice. That's got to run to the edge of the paper. But I don't see anything at this end that would indicate there's less liquid here. Trying to do it and watch it in the camera at the same time, not possible. If anything, I think I'm light at the far edge, you know. It's as even as I can see, you know. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3 sheets left, 4 sheets left, 5, no, oops. Hang on, 5 sheets, then we're gonna flip. The flip is going to be fun this time. It's as wet as I can see, as I can feel. It's as wet. Do any of the printers ever watch? Not that I know of, I don't know. The professional guys, Kubota-san and people like that, they wouldn't dream of watching this. And our staff, they don't want to get involved with sizing. We don't. Yeah, temperature is a thing, absolutely. This is why, of course, we're on a hot carpet here. The paper has been warming up. The bench, I started warming stuff up at 6 o'clock. I came up here at 6 in the morning, pulled the printer's paper out, put the heater on the water, put the mat on, put the board in face down with a towel and put the paper. So everything here, all the parts have been warming up for the past 2 hours since 6 o'clock. But this is a clue, temperature. Maybe the middle of the table here is warmer and maybe it's colder towards the end of the table. In fact, it is. The edge here of the table is a bit cooler. So this could be a factor. This could be it. This area, I don't know. The paper itself has all been in here getting warmed up. The size is 50, 55 degrees. I can't see a I don't know, but it's an idea. The temperature variation across this thing, is there one? I don't know. Enough to make a difference that the printer would notice weeks later. I don't know. Much more likely, I think, that simply my brushing technique is poor. That's much more likely. Okay, we're going to flip. Now, imagine we had done this 100 sheets. We would now have 100 large sheets and 100 small sheets. And when I flip this thing, the stack is going to just be a mess. I've learned that we can get away with it with this number of sheets, even though the stack now has got a large sheet on top of a small sheet. It just rolls across the edge, but it wouldn't be possible if we had hundreds and hundreds of sheets here. Absolutely, it wouldn't be possible. But then there would be no need to be doing it this way if that was the case. I would do the 100, hang them up, come back and do the next 100, hang them up. This is where stuff starts to cool down, so I have got to keep moving here. So we're saying test the printer. Well, it's interesting. This is our oldest and most experienced printer. And when he says something, I listen. This guy's older than me. He's been doing it since the year dot. And test him, I get the idea. But what we want is these older printers to give us as much feedback and information as possible. So when he says something, I jump. I jump. And the other factor about that is people in Japan are so generally disinclined to criticize. It's quite a big deal for him to actually say this. Dave, we have a problem. Because he's criticizing me, saying that my work is not so good. So this is a difficult situation. So I'm very, very, very glad that he's doing this. It's difficult to get feedback in Japan. Absolutely. I'm not sure this is the last question. The Kyoto printmaker, if you're the gentleman from Germany who sent me a photograph of a print brush shop at one corner, we did write to them and got no answer back. If that's the question you're asking, I'm really not sure here. No, Kubota-san doesn't want to talk. Absolutely, he doesn't want to talk. He doesn't care. We've asked him about this kind of stuff, He really doesn't care. And part of the problem, of course, is that the experience he's had over the years involve other people. And talking about stuff like a time in an old workshop or whatever, it's difficult to talk about what other people were like and stuff, Well, the question about Germany is the question that was asked about the Kyoto brush maker. There was a young man from Germany who was occasionally visiting us here, and he sent me a photograph of a brush shop. Was it in Kyoto, or I thought it was in Nagoya? I don't remember. But if that's the question, I don't know who's here. Who's here? I don't know who anybody is. This particular batch of prints, what we're doing here, this paper is going to be used for, as I said, the New Year Nenga print. And that's going to be a 4 impression print. So this paper, this is not going to be deeply critical. The print that it's designed for, all they need here is a basic protective size on the paper so they can do a 4-color print. It's actually not a complex print to make. And as long as I get my sizing just okay, then they will be all right. They don't need any specific, oh my God, you got to get it exactly right. For those of you curious about news, street news and stuff like that, I don't have any updates for you. As I mentioned 2 days ago, I learned that there's been a boardroom coup, and the management of the Street Business Association is changing in April. And I really would like to learn more about that. But the last couple of days, we had a heavy snowfall on Thursday. So Thursday and Friday, this street was pretty much shut down. I've been at home doing work here, so I don't have any update on any situation like that for you. The weather now is looking better. It's the weekend. We'll have a chance to chat with some of the people in the other businesses, and maybe I'll have an update for you next time. I don't know. But at the moment, I myself don't have anything. I don't know anything beyond what I mentioned the other day. That one did. I missed that corner completely. No, we have no apprentices here, of course. No. There's no way that foreigners can get in here to do this. And the Japanese people are not interested, so generalizing to the whole country. If anything, I'm heavy in this corner. What I hit on the back pass, I'm heavy in this corner, if anything. Will we see any finished prints being made today? No, today's a glue stream. All we're going to see today is this gluing and hang it up, and if there's time, we'll see a bit of show and tell. This channel, there's no single day when you're going to see the whole process. Absolutely not. This is just one step in a long process. Sometimes you'll see carving, very rarely you'll see printing. If you want to see the whole process here, jump over to our YouTube channel. There's a million videos over there. Today is just one random day, one part of the inner workings of making Japanese prints. So you're not going to see any prints made today, no. We've got this channel, what's it called? I don't know, Japanese woodblock printmaking or something. We should rename the Twitch channel maybe, I don't know, Japanese woodblock printmaking, the boring bits behind the scenes. Something like that, I don't know. The boring bits behind the scenes. speaking about YouTube, editing is coming along very, very well. In fact, the next YouTube video now is pretty much all in the can and all edited except for the opening scene. I haven't yet recorded the opening scene, and what I was thinking of, because I'm going to Ome on Wednesday to get my haircut, among other things, I might do that. Today's Saturday, I'll do other work until Wednesday, go to Ome Wednesday. If she's okay, I'll get my haircut. So Thursday, I will record the opening scene. So we may see the next video Thursday night, because the rest of it's all in the can, and it's long. It's 50 plus minutes long, and it's all printing, front to back, all printing. And we're going to see it twice, just so you know what's going on. The next YouTube video, it's going to be me first, for the first half an hour or 40 minutes, printing this year's subscription series prints, the first pair. And then we switch over and we watch Sugu-san do her batch. And I was astonished at the difference. Planning this out, okay, whatever, we'll put the camera angle here, we'll see Dave, we'll see Sugu-san, blah, 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 blah. Doing the editing, I did my side first, there's Dave printing, there's Dave doing this, we get to Sugu-san. And I played back part of it last night, and I was astonished at the difference. This is going to be really, really, really interesting for people to see. Most of our YouTube videos that show me printing, they show proofing. I dabble, I get a bit of pigment ready, do this, get the block ready, think about stuff, do a little test, print it and look at it. That's totally different from production work. So what we're going to see in this next YouTube video is Dave is going to be proofing and fooling around and piddling, and then we switch over to Sugu-san, and this lady rolls up her sleeves and says, now, let me show you how it's really done. It's really, really going to be an interesting comparison. Yeah, I watched part of the video about the musicians. I didn't really find much content there. The first 3 or 4 things they showed, the French horn player, we didn't even see her hands, how she's playing. So it was a good idea, I thought, very, very poorly executed. So the idea was great, but I got nothing. I bailed after the first 3. They didn't even show how the calluses developed. They showed nothing. All it was a nice idea and 2 kids who don't have the, just so poorly executed. Wow, frustrating. Great idea, and then no content, just disappointing content. I'm not angry at you for recommending it. That's fine. I eagerly watched it, first part of it, and thought, okay, show me. They showed the picture, the fingernails. Then the girl played French horn. Now show me how that affected your fingers. And it didn't happen. It was just meaningless. Then the one that they should have showed, there was one there. Was it the second one or the third one? The person had calluses on the skin of their left hand and long nails on the right hand. And we get it. That comes from classical guitar. Show us, tell us, explain it. How we do for time? It's 9 o'clock. I don't know about show and tell. I thought we had enough to do today here. And without cooking, I thought we'd get started quickly. So I don't know about show and tell. Let's see. Dave is talking too much. Yeah, I guess so. It's not raining. In fact, the sun has come out. I put a cloudy icon up, but the sun has come out. It's going to be nice weather, I think. They're still taking that building down. Behind the building, 1, 2 to the left, they're taking down a 3-story building. No, the clipping sound you hear is in the heater here. It sounds like drops, drop, drop, drop. It's the expansion of the metal in the heater here. There's been some really stunningly loud, what they're doing, they're collapsing it inside. It's like I said, it's all bricks. It's all breeze block. And they're bringing it down bit by bit by bit. And they've cleared the space in the middle inside. And they can't go out. So what they're doing is they must chop a bit, and then the guy pushes it. And like from the 3rd floor, a whole bunch of breeze blocks crash down to the bottom. And here it feels like an earthquake. I'm happy with what's happened here today. This is not perfect, and there's still inconsistencies in my stroke here, but I think we have a good bunch of usable paper here. I think the printers will be happy with this batch. I got to keep trying to think about this, why there's variation. Looking good. Oh, too much. Sloppy landing there. Hit too hard. The passengers in the plane are thinking, boom, why did we hit so hard? Okay, just a few sheets left, and then we're heading for the next room. Last 3 sheets, and then we head next door. Excuse me. Sure about our timing. What is it? It's 9:07, 9:08. We might be okay. Let's have a look and see what happens here. I think we're going to be close for show and tell. It's 9:09 right now. What's going to take me? 10 minutes to lift them up. Let's see. There's 18 pairs to hang. What are they doing next door? Here's the last one. Okay, there's the last sheet. Brush gets wiped off. Brush goes in the hot water. Temperature. Brush goes in the hot water side. Temperature stays on. If we turn it off now, the glue will congeal. I will clean it up after I finish hanging up. I will come back here. Okay, the great migration. Paper first. Back in a second. Paper goes through to the next door. The streamers can, the chat people can explain to our newcomers, I think. Okay, camera B going off. Take the computer battery. Microphone, unclip from the wall, clip it to the cable. Camera power going down. Excuse me. Okay, can I carry this all in one go? Let's see, is the internet cable clear? No, the internet cable is looped through the video cable. Good catch, Dee. Internet cable is clear. Power is clear. Let's try it. Excuse me. Okay, you know the story. It may go down, it may survive. Let's see. This is kind of heavy actually with one hand. All right, let's try this. We are loose. Let's try this. Can I point the camera? I don't know. Look at this. Video in video in video. All right, we're partly through. Let's keep moving. I gotta watch. This is where I put the computer on top of the wet stack of paper. Brought to you by okay. Paper, clips, video. I think we're still up. Okay, it only took a half an hour. All right, let's get this going. The short group here clearly obviously just needs 2 clips. Up we go. So what's happening, for those of you who've never seen this before, the next step now, of course, is the paper has to get hung up. We have clips hanging on the ceiling, and my job now is to simply hang it all up. We have 18 pairs. 9 small pairs and 9 larger pairs. No, 18, I don't even know what we got. 18 pairs, 18 sheets, which we cut in half. So there's 18 pairs. And 9 of them must be small and 9 of them must be large. Do you so? The microphone is the same microphone. Audio, I haven't changed the audio. It's the same microphone still sitting. The mic is right here. Test 1, 2. It seems okay. I'm getting exactly the same. Nothing's changed on the audio. I don't know if it's visible on the camera, but somebody earlier was talking about the color in the paper as an indication of how much moisture is in it. And I don't know if this is going to be visible. But for me, where I'm sitting, I can see that the right-hand side of that is a bit lighter than the left-hand side. The right-hand edge, the one against the wall, to me is a bit lighter, and it seems to have less liquid than the left-hand edge. And that's the edge that was the right-hand edge, the one with less liquid. That's the part that was against me, closest to me. So I think there is something going on here. I think this part the part that's near, when I was standing doing the sizing here, the part closest to me is lighter in color after I hang it up. So I think Kubota-san was right. There is less liquid in this section of it. Here's the last small pair. Okay, that's a small group. Now 9 sheets left. Well, someone's talking about when we do the backside sizing, if I flipped it in the other direction, that I think would be worse, because the reason I flip it left to right is because, as I said, when I did the top side, I hit here and faded out, and clearly there was more liquid here and less liquid when I did the top side. So when we flip it and do the back side, that puts the heavy liquid at the tail, and we try and even it out left to right. So when I'm flipping the sheets over, I'm really trying to even it out left and right, feeling that the top and bottom should be equivalent. I think it would be much worse if I flipped them the other way around. Okay, we're switching here now to our 3 hands. The other thing I would like to do, but haven't been able to figure this out in winter, is after doing the sizing, I would like to let it sit for a while before hanging it up. For us, when we do printing, we put the moisture in the paper. We could never, ever print right away. The paper has to sit at least some hours. We do it overnight for the moisture to spread out in the sheet and for all areas to get the same moisture level. And yet here with the sizing, I'm slapping on the liquid and hanging it up, and it dries in that consistency. I would love to let it sit for a while to have the moisture spread out. The problem is, of course, this is glue. This isn't water, it's glue. Okay, people are asking about show and tell. Tell you what, let's do this. It's 9:25 now. There's not time for a long show and tell. I have brought the book upstairs that we looked at the other day. Let's do this. After I finish hanging up this stuff now, let's take 5 or 10 minutes and let me recap some of the things I showed you. I've learned some more things about that book. So let's have a short show and tell that will update on what we learned on Thursday. We won't be able to go through the entire rest of the book, and indeed the light up here is no good anyway. But let's have a short update show and tell. So let me get this out of the way. I mean, the last show and tell ran over time 15-20 minutes anyway, so let's do that. Someone's asking too about the gravity. I know. This is the thing too, because I'm hanging this up so quickly. This room is really cold, and I think this glue is starting to congeal right away. So I don't think the glue distribution in the paper is going to be hurt by gravity here. In summer, when things are warmer, and if there was more liquid in this paper, I think yes, it could migrate down towards the bottom. We never ever have a situation where moisture is dripping off these sheets. It just doesn't happen. There isn't that much moisture in there. But yeah, gravity. That's why I said I would like, if possible, to let these things sit to even out before hanging. But they stick together. Here's the last pair. Okay, the plastic might rub against the mic here. If I step on the cable one more time. Okay, gang, let's spend a few minutes here. It's been a bit of a chaotic stream today, but let's get a few minutes here. Let's just update a couple of things about the book. This is the book we talked about in the last stream. Look at that light right behind me. Can I adjust this all the way around? Can I do this? Let's see. Okay, maybe that'll work. Might work better. Okay. Okay, a couple of things then. Short little show and tell today. This is the book we got the other day. It's a book of match label prints. We talked about how the book is really in danger. There, if I try and find a page that shows the example I was talking about. The prints are heavily damaged. Here, we can see an example on this one here. This print has a white area, clean area, and then it's got the brown area. And the white is white because it was protected as the book was closed by a piece of the washi paper from the other side. So the area where each print on one side wasn't protected by print, it has gone heavily brown. These prints are all going brown on the back because the paper is such a poor quality paper. So the number one goal with this book here is to save the prints. We will be taking the book apart. I did a test last night. I went to the very back of the book, and there was a page, as I said earlier in the stream today, there was a page in the back of the book with just 3 or 4 random type prints on it. So I took a razor and I took out that page just by itself. And these are the scraps of the backing paper after I took the prints off. And here are the prints I removed. There's 7 of them, and they came off beautifully. The back side, you can see, am I overexposed? The back side, you can see the corners where there was a glue mark. So the stain of the glue is still there, but the print itself is fine. The front side is as clear as it can be, and the back side, we can even see on some of these, we can see the barren marks where the printer's barren ran through. So they're in nowhere near as bad condition as I had expected, but they have to come out of the book. I'm getting the hang of this camera. I'm getting the hang of it. And as you can see, there's the paper. And what I was really worried about, and it is happening in a couple of places, the backing sheet, after it came off, has, in some cases, look at this. There's a scrap of the print there. So I've got to really be careful. When I soaked off this one, everything came off. When I soaked off this one, some of the print stayed with the backing sheet. So I have to be really, really careful to make sure I leave the prints in long enough. 5-10 minutes is not enough, maybe 15 minutes to soak in the warm water. Okay, now a couple of things about the prints we saw the other day. Just some random things here that I noticed as I was going through. Let me try and find them here. There was a set of pictures here. Look at this. This is a set of pictures, and it's Azabu Juke, 10 views from the Azabu area of what is now Tokyo. And do you see one picture down here at the bottom? This is cool. There are different areas. This one says Roppongi. It shows the Roppongi area of Tokyo. And do you see something in the picture? There's a tree. It's not a tree. It's, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 6 is Roku, and we are told that the name Roppongi came from a very, very old cluster of Zelkova trees. Back in the Edo time, there was a group of 6. And I looked into it yesterday, I looked up the history, and it turns out that there was 6 trees there, and 2 of them survived up till the mid-20th century. 4 of them died, fell over, whatever, and the last 2 were destroyed in the bombings during the Second World War. So there are no longer 6 trees there, but there really was 6 before. So this is famous places around that area, Azabu. There's a temple, the mark shows. The other areas I don't recognize any of them at all. There's another one from the same area. It's Ippomatsu, the famous one large pine tree. And that's, of course, long gone now. There was something else then in this. Let me flip forward to find it. We had some prints of a certain area in Fukui Prefecture. Do you remember seeing these? This was one. It was Wakasa Takahama area. And when I was saying, I said, they looked actually quite realistic. So I went out and found an image. And here we are. And these guys have made these prints pretty much absolutely exactly realistic. I didn't find any more. I had too much work to do yesterday, but I thought it would be fun. I poked around. I just typed in on Google image search. I typed in Wakasa Takahama and bingo, up they came. I think somebody gave me a link the other day on this. So this group really clearly are probably absolutely realistic. And they've done something else too. On the cover picture, do you see what they've done? They've made the outside shape into a fish. And I don't know what they've done with this one. My guess is we're looking at the outside scenery as seen through a small cave, perhaps. And that area really, really, really looked beautiful. And I'd never seen that before. Also, something I learned about this, somebody else sent an email last night. The other one here, Banshu Akaho, I guess is the pronunciation. This is the area in Hyogo Prefecture. And also, I didn't catch this. This is the area that is the origin of the story that became the 47 Ronin story. How much is real, how much is not real, we don't know. But that's the area where that story came from. So with more time to look and study these things, there's lots that can be learned from them. Okay, it's 9:38. I don't really want to go through a whole nother batch because the light is really not good for this, but let's just look at a couple more pages. This one, lower quality images. And these are clearly now, this is amateur stuff. The prints themselves are still made by a professional workshop, but the designing here now is done by the amateurs. And we can see why. It's Shumi Junishu Ippinkai. Hobby, collection of 12 styles, and the Ippinkai is the name of the group that was one of the match label collectors groups. And they have it here. They have Souritsu Ichunen Kinen. It's in celebration of the founding of the group 1 year. And the members, 12 of them, must have put in a design. They must have sketched it themselves. And the design would have been sent through to the professional workshop where the actual prints were made. These are a bunch of guys, bunch of men. They just hang out in a restaurant once in a while. Once a month they'd have a meeting or something like this, chat about the next project, decide what to do. Somebody would collect the money from everybody. They'd put in their sketches. Out it goes to a professional workshop, and away they go. A great, great, great idea for a hobby. It started in the 1920s, mid-1920s, and it finished with the war. It didn't come back to life after the war. So for that 15 or maybe 20-year window, we had magnificent, magnificent numbers of these prints all being made. Let's finish with this one. This is a really, really, really nice set. I don't know the total derivation. It's a set of 12 with a title. And this is different from many of the other sets we have in the style of calligraphy. It's got a date. It's Showa 11. And it's Katase no Insatsu. I'm not really quite sure. This could be something done by somebody called Katase. I don't know. And the theme is all his summer holiday that year. And it looks like a project sponsored by one member of the group who hired a designer, and he gave him 12 ideas, and these are 12 things that he and his family did during that summer. Boku no birthday. And this is Sawada. Oh, this isn't. It will be the Sawada family. Mr. Sawada. his birthday was 21st of July, and they must have gone swimming. And the calligraphy on these is to die for. Everything you see here is carved. Let me try and get it focused close up. My fingers are too fat. Here we go. The calligraphy. It's an order of magnitude finer than what we usually see on these things. The colors are lighter and more pastelish. This is a beautifully, beautifully delicate set of prints. The designs are not great art, nothing to write home about. But the calligraphy is incredible. I can't wait to get these off this paper. Look at them. They're going so brown. I gotta get them off here. We can read some of it. Enoshima no omiyage. This is souvenirs from the Enoshima district. So this is a family that lives in Tokyo. So, miyage. We can see this. It's Enoshima miyage. It's not just the calligraphy itself, it's the carving. Somebody has carved this calligraphy. What a delightful, delightful set of prints. If you remember one of these groups and you got this stuff, you know, somebody gave you this, you know, you've put your money in to help pay for the printing and carving. And as in return, you get one of these sets. Look at this, the legs of the insect. Again, my finger for scale here. What a wonderful, wonderful set. This is coming to our website sometime when we get these peeled off. Yeah, backstroke octopus to show us so. Okay, let's say the book is just going to go on page after page after page after page after page. This was no bargain. As somebody asked in the last stream about this, and no, this is not one of those Dave gets a real bargain for $10. This is not one of those stories at all. I paid hundreds of dollars for this book. And I happily paid hundreds of dollars for this book. It's no problem. And we will be recouping some of that money because some of these are going to go into our flea market. This set won't, but at the back of the book here, there are a bunch of sets. There's a Tokaido set, and we already have this in our own collection. So we are going, if they come off safely, if these come off safely and cleanly, we will be putting some of these into our flea market. The ones that I don't already have. There's 3 or 4 sets in here that are doubles, coming to a website near you sometime down the line. Okay, as I said, we'll look at this again when we're downstairs. My next stream Monday morning will be downstairs. We have the good camera close up. We have lots of proper light to look at these things. Let's look at those downstairs more carefully. Okay, bit of a mixed stream today. And hey, sorry about this. It's all back and forth, back and forth. I saw partway through somebody I think was kind of a new viewer, kind of disappointed that no printmaking is happening. And there's nothing I can do about this. This stream is all about the bits and pieces of a printmaker's world, and lots of different stuff happens, and it can't always be about printmaking all the time. But keeping that in mind, I am going to try and do what we did last week or a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to try and take more video during the times when I'm doing printmaking work off stream, and we will see some of those videos during streams. It wasn't possible today because I can't stop during that work. But for example, next Monday's stream, which is going to be a, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it on Monday. We'll wait there. Okay, we're out of here. I'm off. Get a hot cup of coffee coming up. Thank you very much. I'll see you 2 days from now after the Super Bowl. Good thing we don't conflict with this, do we? It's okay. Or do we conflict? For me, it's Monday morning. Is it Sunday night? It's after the Super Bowl, right? The next stream. We'll find out next time. Bye for now. See you next time in a couple of days. Thanks for putting up with all this. We 100% conflict. Yeah, it's just going to be me by myself then. All right, okay. Bye for now. See you next time. Where's the button? Stop streaming. Super Bowl. Soca.